She had told me, that I just had to give it to God. And at the time when she told me that, I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, I'm praying. I feel like I've given it to God, but
Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Widow's Journey, Strengthening What's Remaining, the podcast with LaKidra. I'm so happy to have her here on the show. LaKidra is also a widow, and we are going to hear her love story and how she is now strengthening what remains. Hey, LaKidra!
hello, nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for joining the show. I appreciate you wanting to get on here and share your love story. So go ahead. It's all on you. You tell me, how did it begin?
So we met when we were like 16, 17 years old. So, yes, we have been together for about 23 years. We have been, yeah, we have been married for 12. So, for more than half of our lives, we have been together. So,
Right.
I just turned 40 last year in October. So, yeah, so he's all I've
Looking
known.
good.
Yeah. So, we
Right.
have been married 12 years this past March. So, he passed in January. So, right after he passed, then we had an anniversary.
Okay.
So we, grew up in small towns, neighboring, towns, close knit families. We have one child, a daughter.
Okay.
And she'll be turning 14 in September. So, Lord, a little lady
Teenagers.
I have. Yes.
Teenagers. A little lady. You got a little lady over there.
A little lady. Yeah. But strengthening what remains. It has been difficult, and you were the first person that I saw that looked like me when I began this journey. Just in
Right.
looking, trying to find someone. I don't know where to go, what to look. How is it supposed to look? Whenever I would
Right.
look and find, someone that was speaking about grief and widowhood, they didn't look like me. And so I couldn't really,
Right.
Relate. But girl, when I saw
Like,
your videos and you was in that robe, I said,
That's us. That's us right there. Listen, because one thing we gonna do, we gonna put on a robe and we gonna walk around. Okay, that's what we gonna do. Okay,
Yes.
so I truly like. I wanted to. I know for me, show those that look like me that this is what it is. Like, it ain't no glamour to this all the time.
At all.
It's some days I don't want to talk to you.
Yep.
I don't want to get up out of bed.
Yep.
I don't want to have nothing to drink. Like, don't try to do nothing for me. Just let me just sit.
Yep. Until I feel like getting out of it,
okay?
right?
Yes, just let me sit in my sadness, and I'm gonna get out of it. But don't keep bothering me
Right.
about it. So I wanted to show those that look like me that this is real, and this is what we will all have to go through. It's just a matter of time when you will or will not will.
Right.
And it's just so happened we were the chosen ones now.
Right.
Right. And there are those before us, as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like you said, if they ever felt comfortable with sharing. So once I got out of my, and I'm still in my sadness, but once I got out of it to say, all right, you know what? Let me get up. I'm like, I have to do this. Like, this is now has become like my purpose.
Right.
Into showing other widows that look like me that, girl, you're not the only one. You are not the only one.
Yeah.
So when your husband, because you say y'all been together for,
Forever
half
and a
y'all
day.
lives,
Right.
really. Right. So, like, how was it that day that you actually found out? Like, was it just like my world ended? Like, when did you start saying from that day to, like, I guess today, like, all right, I need to strengthen what remains?
Okay, so I might cry. Because this
No,
is
it's
all.
okay. And I may cry too. And you better let them tears flow.
Because this is all.
Okay.
Look, I got my tissue on deck.
Yes, listen, you got it on deck. I don't. I got my shirt right now. But
Girl, that is one thing I do not leave the house without it, because tears can just flow at any time. So I keep Kleenex in my purse now.
Yes.
But I was actually with him when he passed. He was in. So he had cancer, and he had been battling cancer for about 7 years, and he had a stem cell transplant 2 years ago. He had a stem cell transplant 2 years ago. But at the end of 2022, they found out that the cancer had come back. And then it just started to be like one thing after another, one infection after another, because he hadn't fully, I guess, healed from the stem cell transplant.
Okay.
And so this last infection, he just couldn't fight off. And so it was something, maybe like a week before he passed, I started to feel different. It was a helpless feeling, not hopeless. I still had hope, but it was a feeling of there was nothing I could do, and I had one of my cousins told me, so he had been sick in 2021 also, that where he was really, really sick. The doctors had only given him a 10% chance of living, and so he came through that, came home and was home for a year before this all started up again. And she had told me that I just had to give it to God. And at the time when she told me that, I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, I'm praying. I feel like I've given it to God. But, I learned that when you fully give it to God, it's when you realize that there is nothing you can do. It is only up to whatever God wants to happen. You just have to be okay with it. But I didn't know how to be okay with it. I didn't know how to do nothing. Because I had been taking care of him. I had been his caregiver for the past 2 years. I wasn't working full time, and I was staying home, to care for his needs and things. And so, about a week before he passed, I don't know if I started to grieve then, just because I don't know. This is all new. I don't know what the feeling was, but I was very
it was just all over.
Yes, I was just very teary. I couldn't put words to what I was feeling. But the night the nurse called me, so I would usually stay with him 24/7. I was in the hospital from like October until January when he passed.
Okay.
But like the week before, I had started to come home to get rest at night, get up in the morning, and go back to the hospital. And so this one time, and I would call at night to talk to the night nurse. So I had already talked to her, and then when I get a call from her a couple hours later, it's like, oh my God, why is she calling me? I look at my phone. This is the call that I don't want.
Don't want.
So answer the phone. She was telling me that we needed to get to the hospital now. And the hospital's about 30 minutes away from where we live. But luckily, my mom was here and my brother and his family. So they were able to, kind of help keep me calm until we were able to get there. So, we were able to see him before he passed and talk to him.
Okay.
But the nurse, he was on the ventilator at the time, so he couldn't talk back. But the nurse was asking me, was kind of telling me that basically the end was coming,
It was near.
Yes. Right. And my thing being that I had just seen him in 2021 looking the same way, and he fought through and came home. In my head, I was like, but you don't know, home. Right? You don't know that. You don't know what God.
You don't know my husband. You don't know my man. Cause my man about to get up out of here and he coming home to me.
Exactly.
Like, you don't even know, right?
Exactly. And they're like, well, do you want to take him off the ventilator? And I'm like, why? No. If I take him off, he can't breathe.
For what?
And she said, she was like, well, whatever decision you make, it's okay. And that made me feel like, I think it did the opposite of what she was trying to do. She was trying to comfort me, to let me know what my decision was okay. But what I heard was, whatever decision, it doesn't matter what decision you make, because he fixing to go to heaven anyway. So it don't matter. You could, like
we could leave him on or we could take him out. It doesn't matter. Because the end is whatever the end. Like, and no one wants to hear that.
Exactly.
Like, let's be for real. No one wants to hear that, especially not about my man, okay? And especially when you said you already saw before he fought. So now it's like, oh, girl, you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Because my man fighting.
Right. And when she told me, I'm like, well, how long you think? I'm thinking like we still got a couple days or whatever. And when she said probably within the next hour, it was like my heart just like,
woo!
What? Like,
right.
I didn't have the words to say. I couldn't process it. I didn't.
Right.
I didn't know, what to do from there.
Right.
So, I just stayed by his side, and held his hand and talked to him and, hugged on him. And then at the very end, the nurses were able to let me get in the bed with him, and hold him. So I was holding him as he transitioned.
It's okay. Take your time. Take your time. Because that memory is going to be with you forever. And I don't think that people understand that. Like, this isn't something that you just get over. Like, I tell people, because you about to have me cry. Why you doing that, LaKidra? I will forever grieve my husband. I don't think people get that. I think that people feel that when a couple of days go by or months, and it's not that way, because we didn't plan on doing life without them.
Right.
Like, so then when your life is altered, it shakes you.
Yep.
It rattles you to the core. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
And yes, I've had people in my family to pass too. A grandmother, granddaddy,
But it's not the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same. And you know what? People who have never walked in our shoes truly won't understand that part, of it. And my heart goes out to you, because I know that feeling. Like, I know that feeling. And it just baffles me how sometimes people will just be like, oh, you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I will never, and I'm sure you won't either, be fine. We learn how to strengthen what remains.
Right.
And that's it. Like, but that will always be a hard thing. And I'm so sorry that that you experienced that, that part of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I'm happy though that you were there to hold him, like to whisper those last loving words in his ear, that, babe, I love you, like, I love you, I love you, I love you. Like, I'm sure if you could have said it 1,000 times within a minute, you would have, like, just said it that many times to reassure him, and it's basically reassuring yourself too, of the love that you have, because it's not even had, it's the love that you still have. Yes. Like, love just doesn't just away. Turn off.
Right.
It does not just go away. It's the love that you still have. It's not something that, that you could just turn off. So, like, why? If we had a choice, we would be immortal.
Right?
Yeah, we would be immortal. Like, I I've learned over these course of the months that if you're breathing, one day you will stop breathing. Like, that's just,
Yeah, and you
how it
don't know
is.
what day it is. You don't know how many days it's left.
You don't know how many days. You don't know how. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like your husband, like when you say he got well in 2021, something in between that time could have happened.
Right.
It just didn't.
Right.
It's just that the cancer ended up being the one to come back and saying, hey, come on with me. But anything could have happened in between then. We don't know how,
Mm-hmm.
But one thing for sure that I've, started to learn is that, honestly, in reading a lot of books, and I don't know if I probably shared with you these books before or whatever, but we do live on. It's just that we can't see the person. It's just not in the physical.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And a lot of times our mind only believes things that we can see.
Mm-hmm.
We don't believe things that we cannot see, So that's what really happens. Like, when someone goes, we like, oh my God, they have totally disappeared from us. But then when we sit down and we think about the memories, the love, we get that giddy feeling. I know I do. I get that feeling like, ooh, come my man. Right. And I'm like, how can you still have that if the person is like completely gone? It's like they left their mark. Like, their mark is here. Like, that
Right.
love is still here. That energy is just still here,
Mm-hmm.
But then there are times I sit around and I'm just like crying, like, oh my God, you really gone, because I can't see.
Right.
Instead of going with my senses that I can feel, I know, like, I can sense the person, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just, it's just all a learning thing now. I think it's like now we have to relearn ourselves, because you've been a wife. It's like
girl,
we gotta learn everything over again and grieve.
I was like, what is this feeling?
What is this?
I don't know what to do.
What is going on? I'm just like, even like with my hair, I cut my hair. It was like my hair started coming out, and I was like, you know what? One day I just looked in the mirror and I said, I'm not gonna allow this hair to hold on to me. Let me just grab these scissors. I just got the cutting. My mom was like, Nicole, you're cutting your hair? Oh yeah, it's gone. Clip.
Yeah.
And it's been like the best relief ever. And it's been growing out. All I do, I get the scissors again and cut it. I'm like, I don't even want hair. I don't even want anything that's gonna hold me down. I'm trying to be as free as possible. Like, I'm trying to learn who I am again.
Yes.
I'm truly trying to learn me, and I know it's probably the same for you.
Yes.
So like, how is your routine now? Like, what things do you do different, or do you still kind of do things a little bit the same?
So first off, I had locks just for a year. So I made a year in June, and one day, and I was just like, I'm about to cut them off. Like, luckily, I had gone to counseling the week before, and my counselor was like, you're really emotional this week, so, until I see you next week, let's not make any big decisions.
Right.
I told her that next week. I'm glad you
told no rash decisions. Don't go buy some land on the farm, okay? Don't do that.
I told her, I said, I almost picked up the scissors and just cut all those locks off, but I just took them down. It was just...
Okay.
Like you said, a release. They just had to go. But I am still trying to make a daily routine. So during the school year, I was able to kind of sort of have a routine, being that I had to get up and get my daughter to school and things like that. But then while she was in school during the day, it was kind of like, what do I do now? Because I work from home. I don't have to like log in at a certain time, as long as I get the work done. So sometimes I would be up late working, or up late, can't sleep, and it was just all over the place. But since this summer, and she's been home, and we've kind of been getting out of the house and visiting family and doing little activities that we wouldn't, or that we were not able to do the past couple of years because of my husband's illness. So this summer we've gone. I'm from Louisiana, but I live in Texas. So we've gone, we made several road trips back and forth home, we'll just be
that.
like, and one time we were at home and I'm like, let's go to the beach. We drove to Mississippi,
Right.
so
just get up and go.
just get
right.
up and go. So that's kind of what we've been doing this summer. Whatever we want to do, whatever idea, we've just been trying to experience life, especially together, being it's just me and my daughter. So school's about to start back. And now I told my daughter, I don't want you to go. I said, I'm going to homeschool you to keep you here with me. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's okay.
To keep you here with me, because I don't know what I'm going to
do.
Exactly. I don't know what it's going to look like. So
right.
That's another journey.
Understandable. Yes, that's understandable. But you know what you are doing? You are making new strides. That you're saying. So you are making new strides, because I'm sure, like you said, with your husband, when you were his caretaker, it was hard for you to do a couple of things. And you wouldn't trade that for the world. Like, let's just make that clear, because I already know. Okay, you would not trade that for the world, baby. You would have still been doing it, okay?
Yes, I sure
Toughing it out, doing it without even complaining. But now you're taking strides to saying, okay, let me do something that me and my daughter, would love to do. Going to the beach. That's that God's grace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, I see stories of people and they just still don't even know what to even think to go do. Because people think a lot of times when you're trying to heal or you got to spend money. No. Go out in what God created. Go on to the beach. Go on, take your shoes off. Go walk in the grass.
Right.
It really does make you feel better.
It does.
I found solitude now in working out. So I do it every day. I am out there in the sun. It beat me down, but I don't care. I know my neighbors probably like, this girl is up again, and it is 8 o'clock, and she's outside. I don't care. I just go. Because it helps me, and I don't care what it may look like to somebody else or how they feel. I'm doing what helps me,
right?
Okay. So if you decided on 3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon that you and your daughter was going to the beach, so be it.
And I'm learning to do that now, like not care what it looks like to anybody else. Just not care. Whatever it is that I want to do, however it is that I want to grieve, whatever, as long as me and my daughter are okay, nobody else's opinion matters. It does not matter at all. And I used to be like, not doing this because of what it might look like or what this person might.
Like you said, it just doesn't.
Now I realize
the things that I used to think that mattered, it did not matter think. Because once my husband passed, my world stopped. But everybody else, the world kept going. Things was going on in the world. Things was going on the internet. Things were going on. My world stopped. But then I realized, like, wait a minute now, hold up. I'm not saying that the world had to stop. But are we going to pause a little bit? Because I'm trying to keep up. Like, I'm trying to get myself up out of this hole. But apparently, y'all don't hear me. So everybody kept going. So it was like, okay. So things around me, I started noticing that I used to care about so much.
Right.
It still happened. Regardless if I was hustling, bustling, or sitting down. It still was going to happen how it was going to happen. We think we are in so much control when we are not. Like, we just aren't that powerful. We are in control of things like that, and so I just learned that certain things just don't matter. Like you said, people opinions, things like that, it just does not matter at all. Now, for a new widow, someone that's new on this journey, what advice would you give them?
At all. To keep pushing forward. Keep pushing forward. I can say today that I am not the same that I was in January. I'm not the same that I was in February. I'm not the same that I was last month. Now, I can't foresee, even in January, looking forward, I'm like, I cannot see past the way I feel now. I can't see how I can get through. I don't understand what it's going to feel like to not feel
every day
like this way.
Don't stop,
literally, I think I cried for like 2 months, after, like every day. And I didn't think it was possible. Right. But I just want, other widows to know, just, keep on the
Yes.
journey,
And
keep
do
your
it over
faith.
and over and over and
Um
over and over
like you
again.
say,
Yes.
strengthen what remains. Find
Yes.
the one thing that you find joy in, that you find happiness, and continue to
Yes.
do it. Yep. Because the memories of your
Yes.
loved one, your husband, are gonna be there. I think about him every day,
Yes, that's some
literally
great
every
advice.
day, and sometimes it
And
just
on the last
consumes,
note, of
my
course,
mind, the
I gotta ask
memories.
you again. I know I
But
asked you in the
just keep
beginning,
pushing
but what
forward.
are you now strengthening? What is remaining?
Uh huh. My relationships, especially with those close friends,
Yep.
close family. Like I am
Yes,
valuing and spending more quality time with friends and
that's
family,
good. That's good. I
especially with
thank you
with my
so
daughter.
much for taking
And doing
time out
things.
of your day, coming on the
But yeah,
show, and just sharing your journey,
yes.
a widow's journey, and how you are strengthening what remains.
Thank
And I so
you.
appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you again. It was great having you. Okay. Yes, nice meeting you as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, and it was nice meeting you. Thank you. Bye bye.